I tell you, Jesus is not coming now. There's no rapture tomorrow. If rapture comes now, implies that the church has failed. And God cannot fail over Satan. It's not possible. The privilege to be saved will be given to all. It's the abuse of it thereof in time that would permit those who become adamant to change, to move in that error until they enter into that particular time frame in God's agenda where they shall be raptured. In the program of God, a day goes through, and 21st century is the first century in the last day. It's not the last century. When they get to the last century, then we will experience what it has been written. The fears that are taking place is because the devil always wants to give projection that will cause people to give up. And you must understand that the devil is not a friend. He comes as an angel of light. He uses tactics that would put fear in the hearts of believers who don't understand dispensational analysis. I will tell you, a lot of people have talked about understanding the ways of God using blind men who stay beside an elephant. One touches the stomach, says elephant is like a wall. This one is like a tree. Let me tell you, that is blind Christianity that makes you to be consumed with the little you know. But the generation of people who are rising up now are not blind Christians, are Christians who possess illumination, that they see the fullness of elephant, and they can be able to give attention to ear when it is for ear, and leg when it's for leg. That generation of Christians is the generation that is emerging in this 21st century. It's the generation that is emerging in the third day church. The third day church is still starting, and the third day church was not prophesied upon as the end of time. It was never prophesied that the beginning was the end, because we are still in the beginning of the third day church. Jesus said, destroy this temple and I'll build it. We are in the building age. And in building, there are a lot of things happen. The pastor engineer can tell you, a lot of blocks will broke and a lot of things happen. It's not a sign that the building has broken. A building which have not been built, people stay inside of you don't give up. Every technician, when he applies a method and it collapses, it only tells the technician that something was not put in place. They reinvent themselves because they will not give up. If they give up, they are failed. They will look, if they fail, they'll look for other engineers who will come, study the environment very well, and build correctly. A building does not expire when they have not started living in it. You see, the grace of the third day church is still yet to be understood. And until it's understood, you cannot function in it. What you don't know that is new will keep you in confusion. And I must let you know that these Satanists that are rising up with an agenda to frustrate the church and the world will not succeed. Bible says their counsel shall not stand. It shall not come to pass. This is not a prayer, it's not a prophecy. It's an understanding of prophetic times and seasons. And the Lord inspired my heart to be able to let people know that in the midst of all these controversies where they are looking for who to stand as the mouthpiece of God, to speak or say this one should stop, that one should stop. That is not how God puts an end to a particular calamity. God raised a person in the midst of the same people. You didn't hear what I said. He doesn't stand with the canopy of the title which people have to look up to. But he stands with an agenda in their mind, which is carrying the weight to be able to restitute humanity. The children of God were about to be wiped out. But this is Mordecai's station as a gate man. In the same camp where they want to wipe out the children of God. Let me tell you, the men that will bring the change that this world needs, they are alive today. You didn't hear what I said. The fact that Elijah was in the cave, it didn't mean that there was no prophet that could stop the prophets of Baal. It only meant that the prophet was still under preparation. Somebody who does not prioritize preparation today, you are heading for a problematic experience. Because when the potentials in you will be needed to communicate peace, communicate stability, you will be speaking ideologies and be confused. This is the season of Christianity where people should not joke with studying. This is the season where people need to prepare themselves on the cutting edge transition. This is a season where people need to understand the third-day church dynamics. This is a season where people need to understand how the prophetic and the apostolic operates in the third day. For the foundation of the church was built by the prophets and the apostle. Each time there is an heir that comes, the fake first show up. Real prophets and real apostles are cooked, are prepared through the boiling pot experience. Apostle Paul never had an encounter and started manifesting as an apostle. He went through different encounters of preparation, mentorship, and observation and supervision. And then he was endorsed at a particular season. You must know that process is more important than manifestation. Process is more important than manifestation. And when your craving and obsession is more about manifestation and you don't consider the importance of process, you become a problem in your time. I don't know what God is saying. I don't know what God wants to do. But whatever he wants to do, he will do it before we go to the end of this program. We cannot start a particular year that has strategic prophetic programming and we are ignorant of it and we are expecting limitless possibility. It's not possible. The limitations that are in every year, you break it when you prepare above them. Proactive measures for you to be able to meet up with divine provision is for you to prepare yourself before the provision comes, so you have an understanding on how to manage it. Who heard what I said? What did I say?
Proactive measures to be able to manage the provision during the period for you to prepare for you to prepare yourself before the provision.
So if we are not proactive, we would get to a place where we'll be stuck and don't know what to do. And when we get to that day, I tell you, you'll be crying and nothing will change. Now is the time to change tomorrow by being proactive. We are in the month of vision. We must ask God to show us what is ahead, so we equip ourselves for it. Because if we enter into something we are not prepared for, we will not be able to explore it. We might not be able to identify the opportunities. It's important to understand what I'm saying. This is a generation that is privileged, but they are excited over tribalities. They are chasing mice when the lion is devouring the land. We are not giving attention to that which is more important. We are obsessed with what is already happening, not knowing that we did not come to become a repetition of what is already happening. There is something that has not been experienced, that we were sent on earth here to be able to represent it. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, it has not entered the hearts of men. Everything that you're obsessed with, which has already been explored, is a delusion. Men will be proactive. They'll be able to prepare themselves for future conflicts. When the conflicts come, it becomes a stepping stone to great impact. It becomes a ground of announcement to their potentials. It becomes a platform of glorifying their Father. God has been glorified over time through men who were proactive in their life. That it was prophesied that this will happen, it doesn't mean it just happened like that. Even when you hear the prophecy, it doesn't mean it will manifest. When Moses heard the prophecy, he wanted to go about it, he started killing people. And the same people whom he's fortunate to help them, they became afraid of him. If you will not become the enemy to people who need you, you need to understand the place of preparation. He needed to spend 40 years at the backyard of the desert. No matter how long it takes, preparation is more important than implementation. When you're obsessed about implementation without preparation, you are heading for great destruction and doom. Find out what happens with the son of Sceva. The fail is all about implementation. What everybody's doing, they should just do. Not knowing that you are fashioned and wired for something which you need to be prepared for in order for you to manifest it naturally. Natural things look unnatural because we are not prepared for them. We are mystifying things which ought to be natural because of lack of preparation. This generation needs help, and the help is available. I tell you, the men that will bring change, they are alive. They are not yet in the womb. They are alive. And the world is not ending now. If a person's time has expired, where your eye is already blind, you can't see again, don't be speaking. A blind person will speak only what he knew in the past. You can't speak history to become the future. If all you could see was yesterday, and they are trying to rate your credibility based on your yesterday's impact, you are making a big mistake. We need open eye prophets, visionary prophets, those who have the understanding of the time. Their perception into now is different. They don't live with fright, they know what to do. When you don't know what to do, you are not prepared for the time. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Don't let fright come. You know how many generations of people in my lifetime I've seen who they say the world is ending. When crisis, we are at the cutting edge of the transition from the second day church to the third day church. They felt that as the second millennium was expiring, the world will end. It did not end because some of us still needed to write history. There are things about some of us that need to be able to project Christ in a dimension. And God's program cannot end because somebody's vision is ending. God's program cannot end because somebody's mind cannot see further than what they can see. Don't make personal conclusions on things which your perception is limited on. There's a need for a restudy. We need men who can see 400 years ahead of their time. Because all you can see is 5 years ahead of your time. Everything after 5 years look as if is in existence. But anybody who can see beyond 5 years will tell you about the possibilities that are ahead. That's why the place of proactive leadership is very vital to take people out of fear and confusion. Preparing people for the rainy days. Where others are hiding, you have already planted, and the rain does not come to become a problem. It comes to water your seed and give you harvest after that season. There are opportunities in everything we define as problem. They remain a problem. We have a poor understanding about their purpose. Anything where its purpose is understood becomes of positive productivity to a person. But anything that its purpose is not understood, it becomes problematic. Late Miles Moro say, when purpose is not known, abuse becomes obvious. Abuse is unavoidable. There are things you will not be able to avoid because you neglect preparation today. There are people who certain things must happen to them because they are neglecting preparation today. And I'm telling you, if any opportunity for you to learn comes, you neglect it, I tell you, you must cry tomorrow. This is what we must understand. When Moses went through the preparation, prophecy could be accomplished. Because preparation equips you to be able to carry on a prophecy. Everything given to you, which you are not prepared to manage it, that thing will look like a problem when it was not a problem. You must understand that in every generation, God must raise a people that can be able to represent his mind in that generation. And you can't expect people who were raised in the previous generation to come and run this generation. You get married to your wife and you're looking for your father to come and impregnate the wife. Something is wrong. I know that not long from now, there's going to be an emergence of an unstoppable generation of people. An emergence of an unstoppable generation of men and women of God. It looks like it's getting dark. It looks like it's going to be over. But the darkest hour is at the dawn of a new day. There's about a breakthrough, a revival in the gospel that is coming. As things are getting darker, it is an indication that the prophets of this end time are getting mature. Somebody asked me, with all the fake that is going on Is God sleeping? No. God knew that they were prophets of Baal. And he was not bothered. Because the people were used to the prophets of Baal. So they stayed with the prophet of Baal, waiting for his own prophet to be ready. When he was done with Elijah, Elijah came in 1 day, not 2 days. The prophets of Baal were wiped out. Let me tell you, preparation will make things easy for you. If Elijah did not prepare, he would be fighting one prophet of Baal to another. But when his preparation got to a particular peak in 1 day, he wiped away all prophets of Baal and set a legacy where divinity was exalted. There's a level of preparation you attain. I tell you, you will not struggle to announce your God. Your life will speak on its own. Men will see, and the compelling force of maturity will be able to bring people to a place of conviction. It doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter your placement, it is maturity that brings forth that dimension of manifestation that brings true conviction. And I tell you the truth, this is that generation. The men and women whom their name will remain on the sands of time are alive. They are patient, they are not in a haste. They want God to reveal them, they don't reveal themselves. When you watch any person who just want to announce himself, they are the ones who want people to ordain them. They are the ones who are asking for things. They are not that generation of people. The generation of people that God will use are not people who reveal themselves. They are people whom God reveals them. Watch in the whole Bible. Even after all the preparation Moses went to, it is God who revealed him. With specific instructions which were undeniable. You must understand that the things of God are not motivated by flesh. They are inspired by the Spirit. A person's maturity made him to stay in a place which naturally nobody would like to stay. And the child grew, waxed strong in spirit. Growth is good, but maturity is more important. Grew and waxed strong in spirit. Waxed strong in spirit is maturity. Then he stayed in the desert. Some people don't want to stay in divine placement because their human instincts and human feeling and human desires don't feel comfortable in such placement. But where God will announce you might not look too beautiful. It was not in a palace where kings came and honored Jesus. It was in a manger. So it is not in the measure of comfortability in your environment that matters. It is in the quality of what you carry that will attract men to your place. If you carry what people need, it doesn't matter whether you are from which village. Whether it's a cursed village, people will look for you. Can anything good come out of Nazareth? You will know that credibility is stronger than credentials. When men whom you thought would never value you begin to run behind you. That generation has come. That generation has come. This is prophetic leadership. To stir you to the value of preparation. That you might be included in the chart of those who will change and rewrite history. They are putting pride. Oh, the vaccine has entered here. It has entered here. Oh, this and that. The reason why you see there are controversies about it is because it's not from God. How people who have taken it, they have different malfunctions. Whether you call it is a film. It's a sign that people are not convicted about it. Because it's an imposition. What is real? You don't force people. People use their money to go and buy it. If everybody is healthy and you are telling the person of a problem, it means you want to create a problem that where it's not existing. Man of God, are you sick? Why do they want to come and vaccinate you? When you are sick, they don't come and give you cure. Now that you are not sick, they want to come and initiate you. For how many years? Where they talked about cancer. They have not brought vaccine for cancer, which kills more. People feel the real pain. They have not been able to bring vaccine for HIV, where people are dying of it. We know of it. It's what we don't know of, which they are trying to impose. Since they did not create you, they can only use a method to put fear in you so that they can put what they will use to control you. We are waiting whether they'll come and begin to force people and choke it on them. We will know. They will know that human beings are more than the army. When human beings get angry and they are not willing to be afraid of guns. How many people have guns? The weapons that are in a nation are not up to 1 million of the population. So if people get angry and they rise, it is over. No good thing is imposed. Every good thing comes by understanding, not by imposition. Shut down everywhere. Put fright here. Begin to count numbers. Oh, these are happening. Where did all those things go to? They want to start another one. And the actors which have sold their conscience have started wearing masks where they know they are not sick. You think it's over? Satanic agenda doesn't easily give up. But you think that God is sleeping. No, God is not sleeping. Evil needs to reach at a particular peak, so the supremacy of the power of God can be respected. Oh God. Let me tell you, if something is solution just come now, people will never respect God. Cognitive doctors will say they have been doing their own also. These other people will say they have been doing their own. When it gets to a place where every person who is boasting, when the prophets of Baal get to a place where they stop prophesying, then they'll know whose God still has to produce fire. That day, the whole nation will bow to God. There is a revival that is coming. A revival is not a shaking in a small environment. A revival is something that's a global influence. And I want to use the life of one person to be able to explain to you. It takes a power to be able to influence a people. And a time came where there was a power which wanted to influence the children of God. And God sent his servant, Mordecai, to go and be a servant at the gate. You see, you can never be used by God until you come out of your high horse. You're willing to lay down your life at any level. Because there are secrets and lessons that are learned on the floor. You want to get that breakthrough? You are not written in the calendar of the people who make decisions. So how do you come to make a decision? A woman who understood how to get a miracle came to Jesus. He said, dogs don't eat from the master's table. He said, no problem. I understand it. But dogs eat even from the crumbs that fall on the ground. The bread on the table and the one that falls on the ground is the same thing. It takes wisdom for you to be able to be humble so that you can be able to fit on the platform that can bring change. Pride will never give us the leverage to be able to project our God. God resists the proud and he raises the humble. I tell you, anything that is making you not to bring down, let me tell you, humble people will know that you are wrong. Hello? But for the sake of your pride to solve a problem, they can even assume the position of your wrongness in order to stop the problem. Is it not Jesus who was interceding for people who were fighting him? Because his perception was different. Crucify him! And they say, Father, forgive them. You see, it takes a level of maturity to act contrary to what your enemies are expecting you to act. You've not seen anything, no. Problem is coming. But I tell you, it is for the announcement of heaven. It's not for rapture. It's not, the end is very far. You think that my children just came to stroll and just died? No, my children will grow. They'll do things which their own children will still come and do. And people just say things and then they are still getting married. How you say rapture is coming, you still want to marry? You want to marry to do what? You are not preparing to go to the heaven. You are still struggling to be church. Be church for who to attend the church. You cannot be coming out of a plane and you are preparing as if you want to enter the plane. No. So this is what we must understand. They are a remnant. And you can write yourself on that chart by being proactive. Proactive people prepare ahead of time. This is the season of preparation because of what is ahead. There shall be limitations. But for us champions, which God is giving us vision, we are going to build a faith personality for what? Limitless possibility. If you can hear in the spirit, your approach towards things will be different. I'm telling you. Everybody can talk. But I tell you, not every talk is a talk. Men who have heard from God, they don't talk too much. They engage themselves in obeying the voice of God. And the outcome thereof speaks for them. People are talking are people who don't know what to do. When you know what to do, you'll be busy doing it. You will not be talking. So this is Mordecai strategically positioned as a servant at the gate. The mystery of the gate. Everything that passes there and goes out, he's aware. You see, position yourself in a place where people don't even suspect you. Where you can be able to understand their strategy. When you are quick to speak, you can block people from opening up what is in them. If you act like a fool, you will know what is in people and you can be able to help them. You can't help a person who you don't listen to the person. Sometimes you need to listen to people. Sometimes you need to allow people to go into their error so you can be able to educate them correctly. Because if they have not gone to error, they will still be propagating their error as right. I told you now, when somebody comes for counseling now and start crying, I will not say, oh, don't cry. I'll allow you to cry or you cry. When you have finished all your cry, you can talk correctly. If I start interrupting, oh, don't cry. Look, I'm telling you, you will not express yourself correctly. I let somebody cried, I was just there quiet. Cried, now look at me. You know, they say cry, you cry, you look at somebody. I feel a person will tell you, sorry, oh, my daughter, don't cry. No, you cry or that cry. Am I the one crying the cry? I want to hear, but what is the issue? Amen. You see, when you allow sentiments to rule you, you cannot discern. What I'm saying is serious. Never allow sentiment to rule you. Anybody who allows sentiment to rule them, they can never discern. Discernment is corrupted when sentiment overrides your sense of reasoning. Has somebody said this before? Okay. Begin to wait when some other person will see you on Facebook and they'll be educating you on something you were present. They'll be like, hey, this is powerful. Say, but I listened to it in one of these things. Are you not part of that family? Write the vision. Right. Learn to document. In a day where you are just so dry, just go back to it. You ask yourself, wow. So documenting is proactive measure for futuristic preparation. There'll be a time where your mind is at the right frame to be able to absorb a particular truth. At that time, when you go back to your notes, it will assimilate properly. Sometimes when truth is coming like bullets like this, you cannot be able to assimilate all. It stirs an atmosphere, but document it. When you are the right frame, you feel like you just need a retreat. And then when you go through your notes, you're like, wow, your retreat will become so exciting. Amen. Now, this is what you must get. Follow me very well. Mordecai stayed there for so many years. Hello? He knew God sent him there. And he did not just rise up. God has sent me here. This your nonsense must end. You know that's how foolish prophets they rise up. This corona must stop. No. It's not a season to be fighting with Satanists. Not divination with the evil world. We do not divinate. What we must do is, we must be proactive. And to be proactive, we must learn from Mordecai. Mordecai started training a slave girl. So those who are under difficult conditions are the ones who can be able to appreciate preparation. You must be able to read between the lines of what people are going through and know which encounter God wants you to exhibit in order to prepare them for the future. Nothing is happening by chance. Like I said, there are two ways things happen. It happens by you, by understanding, giving yourself to something, or by divine intervention, you are pushed into an experience you did not like because there's an urgency for divinity to manifest. Some people didn't choose the experience that built capacity in them because there was an urgency. God does not fail. God does not fail. So when you don't want to get ready, God will make you ready by exposing you to things you can't understand. Talking to one of my daughters, I was talking about things which the father had done, which they did not know. Did she choose herself to be born by the father? And then you see strange things. You might feel like maybe, hey, it's like God hate us, not knowing that somebody has voluntarily and deliberately entangled himself into satanic things. And then you're just born there. You cannot be a victim if you know how to salvage yourself. Salvation is personal. It didn't say salvation is family. Is it written like that? So you can liberate yourself from a family stronghold. You can be in a country where everybody is poor and choose not to be poor. This is a man born in a poor country. His family was the least and he was the least in his family. But the mandate of God upon his life was to shape that nation and make it a great nation. Gideon, stop letting situation and circumstance to dictate who you are. You are a mighty man of valor. The day you encounter God's voice concerning his agenda for your life, your perception about life changes. What was seemingly looking like a problem, you start seeing opportunities in them. A lot of people have not been able to embrace what will announce them because they see it as a problem. Not knowing that God does not permit problems to come your way. He permits only opportunities. But a wrong perception about a good thing will make you to see it as a problem. What? A wrong perception about a good thing will make you to see it as a problem, not because it's a problem. Our generation is in for something serious. So what we must focus on now is mentorship. Mordecai focused on mentorship on Esther. Because those who we mentor today becomes the answers of tomorrow's problem. That you are called, it doesn't mean you are the one who act. That you are the vision bearer, you are not the runner. You mentor the runners. Oh, la brushadaba. God gave a vision to Habakkuk. He didn't say you are the one who will run with it. So you see, visionary leaders must understand their placement and not try to be everything. There's somebody who represents something in a particular vision, whether you like it or not. If that vision will have that experience, that person must manifest. If people understand this, they will not be confused in a vision. They'll be looking at their placement and grow into it. Their significance will be undeniable. Who heard what I said? Pastor Ayub, did you understand this one? At that level, you are fighting with nobody. You are just trying to grow in your own area. Your significance will be undeniable because everybody will need it. That vision needs it. That's why you become indispensable. Your value is imposed because of its unique fragrance. Stop fighting with people. People who just allow themselves to be distracted, they miss a lot which they ought to profit. I'm telling you. This is serious. There is a level where you don't try to show yourself. You let your growth reveal the Christ in you. You do what? You will let your growth reveal the Christ in you. I can do all things through Christ, not through my flesh, not through my human ideology, who strengthened me. Let your maturity reveal Christ, and let the Christ revealed initiate the limitless possibilities. So he invested time to build and mentored a slave girl. Anybody is a problem until they go through preparation. You remain a problem if you refuse to go through preparation. Preparation is what would create the transition between you being a problematic person and a productive person. A man who has gone through preparation comes out of the bench of dependency and become a donator to great transition, great change, great advancement. You can't give what you don't have. Capacity build commands the leverage of certain level of results that reveals your true self. The greatness you assume will never be felt until capacity creates an atmosphere that reveals it. By their fruits, they shall know them. When he invested in Esther, it was no longer whether she was slave or not. Capacity was speaking. You didn't hear what I said? Oh, there's a level where people forget who gave birth to you because your capacity is stronger. There's a level where you get to people don't remember that you once were trekking. There's a level where you get to people don't remember that you were once an armed robber. There's a level where you get to people don't remember you were once a prostitute. Every ugly past can be erased by building capacity that will usher you into your future. You can change your tomorrow today by changing the values that govern you into the negative experience in the past. She was slave girl yesterday, but her future she became a queen. You can choose to remain where you are until you set value to the element that brings transition, called preparation. Preparation is the element that brings transition and reveals your true self. There are things which people will never experience, not because they were not fashioned to experience it, but because their preparation could not permit them to be able to access it. There are things which people will never experience in life, not because they were not fashioned to experience it, just because they never gave room for preparation to permit them to access it. Bible says you shall know the truth. There is something you need to know. Until you know that thing, you will never be known. There is something you were fashioned for that people will never see you for it. Until you know the truth of what you were fashioned for, you will never be revealed for that. And when Esther entered into the palace, she just said, now I'm queen. King, stop that slavery. You see, wisdom is profitable to direct. People just feel that their gift, they should just use it to oppress an atmosphere. No. You need wisdom. Bible says wisdom is the principal thing. But in order getting, get what? Understanding. So preparation is more important than implementation. Don't copy people's methods of implementation without having an understanding. You will disgrace yourself. I believe this generation, not long from now, I'm telling you, before 2030, you will see people whom you had never given a good definition for them, never given a good value for them. You'll be surprised at what they'll become. The Christ revealed in them would announce them so greatly, where even their enemies want to identify with them. Anybody who is bringing you help and solace, you must celebrate, you must value. Unless you consciously and intentionally permit yourself to be killed by your ego. When Esther was there, Mordecai was not forcing Esther. But when there was an emergency, Mordecai had to speak to Esther. You must know when to speak and when not to speak. But you see, the announcement of Mordecai was not because of Esther. Let nobody feel that they are the ones that must announce you. No, your faithfulness is what will provoke God to announce you. Who is hearing what I'm saying? Nobody should make you feel as if they are the ones that will announce you. Even a man wants to announce you. If you're not faithful, the announcement will not be sustainable. There's a way that seems right to a man, but the future is destruction.
Correct.
You should be humble and let God do it by himself. When God does it, like this man said, so when it's the time, you become explosive and you can't stop an explosion. Anything that is mature becomes an explosive. You try to stop it, it will scatter you. There's a level you get to where you are unstoppable. Not because of the statement, I'm unstoppable. No, but because of maturity. Your manifestation, even those who hate you, they are seeing benefit in it, and then, secretly they come by night like Nicodemus. You don't know what made Nicodemus came by night. He has tried to endure pretense. He could not go. It shall be the testimony of anyone that will make themselves faithful to preparation. Don't be looking for improvement. Don't be looking for breakthrough. Breakthrough should be looking for you. I always tell you of the rich man in the book Think and Grow Rich, written by Napoleon Hill, how his wealth was so much, but he was still hardworking. Why? You see, when people have not understood why they are here on earth, they can be distracted by anything. They are working for money. This man was not working for money. He said he had a vision. Each time he accomplished a dimension of the vision, money just follows him. So money does not distract him because that is not his drive. So when he had money until even his 10th generation or not before, he was still working. There's something that keeps you busy, keeps you focused, keeps you serious. It's called vision. If it's money that keeps you busy, if it's money that motivates your enthusiasm to be committed, you are not yet a Christian. So Mordecai's faithfulness was his goal. I am fashioned to mentor Esther. That's all. But it's not Esther that will announce me. Esther has his role. Means the impact of my mentorship has its own role. But my announcement is strategic in order for this particular plan to be accomplished. You see, even when you get to a place where you have gotten to independence, you must understand the place of interdependence. You didn't hear what I said? Esther got into independence by being the queen. Should I say, I don't need Mordecai. I've gotten to the peak of what is respected. Not knowing that assignment is stronger than just position. What? Assignment is stronger than what? Position. So when people have position, they become like the 50 sons of the prophet. But people like Elisha understand that assignment is stronger than position nor title. They know that there's an element of endorsement that comes when you run the race to the end. So rebellion is never part of the agenda of God. Breakage is never part of the agenda of God. You are sent forth to a progressive dimension. You are not breaking out. There's no such thing as release in the agenda of God. You are sent forth. Anybody's looking for release, it is satanic. There's nothing called release in the agenda of God. Nobody was ever released in the Bible. Anybody who imposed release, God prodigal at the end of the day. There is no testimony in the Bible of release me. People are sent forth. Esther was sent forth into queen. There was another assignment. When the time came, Esther imposed, because of her placement, for people to fast inside the camp. Do you know internal fasting is stronger than external fasting? When the battle is coming from inside the house, it's stronger. He compelled all the servants to get on fasting. It was strong. It was serious. There are things to know. When you know them, I tell you, you will stop being excited and stop doing things that will mortgage your future. Sometimes you are doing some things, you don't know that that thing like that God is using to put you to somewhere. Saul got up in the morning, never knew that there is going to be an encounter with a prophet, which God had already spoken. A missing donkey became the voice to push somebody who could not hear God into a divine transition. Those who don't want to hear God clearly, situations will push them into it. But those who know God understand transitional process. So though she was queen there was, stay there. When assignment will blow up, I will still give you instruction. That's the place of what? Interdependence. Though I have gotten independent, but I still need my father at a particular junction. At that level, it is coaching. It's not more mentorship. You know, there are people who just rise up, I'm a life coach, I'm this. They are saying it because their father said so. You must have been able to mentor people effectively to a place where they have independent assignments, where they can mentor others. At that point, you are coaching them. A coach was a previous player. So he has skills, but his muscles are not strong enough. Again, he doesn't have the energy, so he's trading his skills. Coach are people who have skills. Coaches are not novice. When a person becomes a spiritual coach, know that the person has attained a height. Just like David got to a place where he had been killing Goliaths and Goliath's brothers, but at a particular time where his muscle was weak, the brothers and cousins of Goliath came and arrested him to kill him. But the mighty men he has raised snatched him out of the hands of the cousins of Goliath and said, "We will keep you in the palace so that your wisdom will begin to guide us. We will go and win the battles for you." Victory comes to the coach, but the coach was never playing in the field, but his skill was playing through the people who had the potentials. So when you get into interdependence, your spiritual father becomes a coach over your life, no longer a mentor. Mentorship is when you are in a growing process. When you get to maturity, your father becomes a coach. People still need a lot to learn. You don't coach them, you mentor them. So a person who has not learned enough, how do you become a coach? So there's a lot to know. So Mordecai, at a particular junction when there was of necessity for the mandate to be accomplished, let me tell you, there are things which God will do in particular seasons where you don't need prayer and fasting, because in his agenda, that particular thing needs to happen in your life for the assignment to be accomplished. So you don't just say, "I want this now, I want this now." When is the time God will reveal it to you? So Mordecai was still faithful in the gate. But when the time when there was a need for announcement, God troubled the unbelieving king until Mordecai was honored. And the enemies of Mordecai, who felt he was useless, were planning to destroy him, not knowing that God had already proactively prepared an atmosphere where he will endanger his own self. And the pit he dug for Mordecai is the pit that killed him. If you go through proper preparation, whosoever fights you will die fighting you. They can't succeed. People will succeed over your life when you neglect the place of preparation. If you thought, "I'm not done," then you're making a mistake. It's past 7. God bless you. What you must know is that we are in that season. Corona is not the end of the world. There are things that will happen, but God is raising the people. Put yourself among the remnants. At a particular junction, just like how it was abated and the children of Israel were free, the world will be freed. The Northwest and the Southwest crisis will come to an end when God has raised the right people. Mark my word. God bless us. Beautiful day.